Good afternoon, Mr. Fabres. My name is Pilar Arboledas. I'm the science teacher at Europe International School. First of all, thank you very much for your time. We call you because my students are carrying out a project about plastic pollution in the oceans, and we know that you work in that area, and they are willing to ask you questions. Are you ready?
Good. Thanks a lot. Good afternoon to you and all the students that are there. Is it fine for you?
Okay, I'm going to show you the students, okay? They're going to introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Patricia.
Hello, my name is Anna.
Hello, my name is Francis.
Hello, my name is Gonzalo.
Before we start, please tell us something about yourself and your job.
I'm Joan Fabres. I'm a marine geologist. I studied geology at the University of Barcelona, and then I started working more with the ocean than with the rocks on land, and studied how the ocean functions, and I ended up working in this small organization that is based in Norway, that works in trying to help especially developing states with managing their environment and being aware of the importance of looking after the environment. And specifically now I'm working with this subject that is getting a lot of attention on marine litter and the plastic pollution in the ocean.
Perfect.
Why does plastic accumulate in certain parts of the ocean?
Well, plastic accumulates in certain parts of the ocean because of both the qualities or the properties of plastic, but also the way the ocean functions. And I will try to show you, let me know if it actually works. I'll try to show you an illustration to explain that a little bit. Do you see the graphic on your screen now?
Well, right now it's loading. Yeah, I do. Now I do. Now we do.
So if you have a look at that graphic, let me see. This graphic is actually showing the different kinds of plastic that we find in our daily life, but also that we find, unfortunately, in the ocean. And if you see, different kinds of plastic have different densities, which means that when they come to the ocean, they either float, like bottle caps, for example, or some kinds of plastic bags or floats that are designed to actually do that float. They stay in the surface of the ocean, or in some cases, because their density is bigger than the seawater density, they sink. So that would be the case of cigarette butts or some textiles that are made of plastic components as well. Or, for example, drink bottles. If you see a drink bottle in the ocean, you will only find it floating if it's closed and if it hasn't got a hole in it. The moment that bottle loses its cap or it breaks down and it gets a hole or whatever and water goes into it, then it actually sinks because the plastic that makes up that bottle is denser than the seawater is accumulating. But we cannot forget that there is plastic everywhere in the ocean. It's in the surface, it's in the middle of the water, and it's also a lot of it in the seafloor, in the bottom, where we don't see it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for giving us that information. But does your company carry out any cleaning campaign?
Let me see if I can stop sharing my screen and you get to see me again. We do not, do you see me again?
Yes.
Our company, as I said before, we are based in Norway, in Northern Europe, and we work mostly with developing countries. So the work that our company does is, it is actually not a company, it's a non-profit, non-governmental organization. We work with developing states, so with places in Africa or in Asia, in South America, places in the world where they don't have as many resources as we have in Europe to look after our environment, so we make sure that they get the capacity and the knowledge to actually look after their own environment. So we are not actually out there cleaning ourselves. We help people understand the importance of actually cleaning and going and cleaning up beaches. But we only do it here every now and then in Norway because we also care about the environment where we live. Actually, I can show you the view out of the window. Do you see?
Yeah. Yes.
We are based also on the coast, so we are also worried that the environment around us is tidy and clean. So we every now and then go and do a beach cleanup, but it's not our main business, I would say. It's not our main activity.
Okay, perfect, thank you. How do you map plastic in the ocean?
I'm gonna try to share my screen again, see if that works. But basically, it is not easy to actually map plastic in the ocean. There is some work that is being done. The illustration on your screen. Do you see an illustration on your screen now?
Yes, we do.
Yes. If you see, that's the map that I was talking about, in which you can see these big whirlpools that form in the middle of the ocean that accumulate plastic in the middle. These circles made with arrows are these gyres where plastic accumulates. But if you repeat the question?
Yes. And how do we contaminate ourselves when we contaminate the ocean?
Oh, that's another very interesting question. I don't know. Did you see the illustration in the screen change?
Yes.
Okay. You see, this is one of another of the graphics we have produced here where I work with the help of people that are really, really good in making illustrations with computer. We try to show the different ways in which plastic is transforming or being processed in the ocean. And you do see that plastic happens, lots of different things happen to plastic in the ocean. It breaks down, it gets degraded because of the action of the waves, because of the action of the light at the surface of the ocean, because of the interaction with animals. But one of the things that happens is that when plastic is broken down into small pieces, it is unfortunately eaten by fish or by actually very, very little organisms that are called plankton that live in the ocean, and also by fish. So the smaller fishes are eaten by the bigger fishes, and the bigger fishes by bigger fishes, and eventually those bigger fishes are the ones that we catch when we go out fishing, or the fishermen catch when they go out fishing, and then they sell it to us in the market and we cook it at home and eat it.
How do your activities improve the environment?
Thank you. Well, I explained you a little bit about that. I said that our organization works with actually trying to share information about environmental problems in the way that you have actually seen in your screen. We do graphics, we work with websites, we make reports, and we try to make sure that that information reaches the people that care about the environment.
How many marine animals die each year because of the sea plastic?
That's a difficult question to answer actually, because we do know some animals die because of plastic, because we find them trapped in plastic, or because we find them dead with plastic in their stomach. But we don't find all of them that die because of plastic. We only know of some. So we actually do not know how many animals die each year because of plastic. It's certainly a lot, and one thing is for sure, too many. I mean, there should be no animals dying because of plastic pollution. So yeah, we can say that it's too many. That's probably the best answer I can give you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, which ones are the most polluting countries?
The most polluting countries. I'm trying to. Do you see?
Yep.
Do you see the graphics now again?
We do.
Yes.
Do you?
No,
Okay.
yes.
You do? Let me see if I find this. Yes, I have this graphic here that is showing. Do you see a map of the world
Yeah, we do.
with lots of bubbles in it?
Yes,
if
yes.
you have a look, the countries that produce more plastic waste that can eventually end up into the ocean are the countries that have the bigger bowls. Never mind if the bowl is orange or it's red. That's where more plastic waste is produced. So if you see, for example, United States produces a lot of plastic waste, and the whole of the European Union, which is that big bowl that is sitting in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, it's a big contributor as well. But the problem, besides producing a lot of waste, the problem is with how much waste we do not manage to dispose properly to get to the companies and the factories or the plants where they process that waste and make sure that it doesn't get into the environment.
Okay, thank you. That was very interesting. How does plastic affect marine life?
Yeah. Did you see the illustration on your screen change now?
Well, it hasn't changed yet, but
Maybe we'll come soon. Actually, the plastic, there is two major ways by which plastic affects marine life. It's animals either get trapped into plastic nets or in plastic sheeting or in plastic bags. So what we call animals get entangled with plastic fragments, and they have problems because they cannot swim properly or they cannot eat properly, etc., etc. So they die because of that impact. Or they can also be exposed to plastic because they eat it. And when they eat it, there's many different things that can happen. But one of the things that can happen is that it blocks their digestive system, it blocks their stomach. So then they have the feeling that they are full, that they have eaten enough because their stomach is full. But actually, and they stop eating because their stomach is full. But actually, they are not getting enough food into their system, and they die of starvation, which is a excruciating. I think it's probably one of the worst ways in which an animal can die, because they die slowly because they don't get enough energy into their system.
Yeah.
So that's the two major ways. It's either by entanglement or by ingestion.
Wow, that's incredible. What? Yeah, and this is the last question. What can we do to stop polluting the oceans?
Oh, there's many things that we can do to stop polluting the oceans, and each and every one of us can do something about that. We can certainly, probably the best, most powerful way that we can do is by being very, very conscious of our choices when we consume, when we go to the supermarket and buy. We have to try to buy less things that have plastic that is used for a short period of time, especially things that it's only used once, like plastic cups and plastic plates and things that are packaged in plastic that is totally unnecessary. So by actually consuming more responsibly and paying attention to what we buy and how we buy it, that's one way of helping the environment. But also making sure that whenever we have plastic, and whenever we want to get rid of it, that we actually get rid of it in a proper way, that we put it in the trash bin. And if we have a separated trash bin for plastic, that's even better, because then it means that plastic can be recycled. So that's another very good way. And certainly when we are out in the environment, make sure that if we have anything with us, be it plastic or be it anything else, any garbage, we don't leave it behind. When we go to the beach, that we don't leave rubbish behind us. That's a very good way of doing it. And also we can be active. We can go and clean up beaches. We can try to solve the problem that is already there. But the best thing is to actually avoid the problem by not getting any plastic out there to the environment. So try to stop plastic getting into the ocean. That's the best way of helping the ocean and the marine environment.
Yes, that was nice.
That's okay, thank you.
I have just one extra question, because when you, like, for example, are walking on the beach or something and you have plastic, you would go and put it in the garbage. But for example, sometimes when the garbage truck picks up all the garbage, what really happens to the garbage? Because some person actually once told me they don't just pour it onto this hill, and that was polluted.
They pour the garbage where?
Just in a place where there's
in a dump.
No, like a dump, and also sometimes, like, just in random places.
Well, that is definitely the worst thing that it can happen, that we all take the responsibility, that we all try to be clean and put the garbage where it needs to be, and that the companies or those that are in charge of actually getting rid of that garbage and processing it and making sure it doesn't do any damage, they actually take poor decisions and harmful decisions and dump it anywhere. So that is actually what is the problem that they're having, for example, in Southeast Asia. They don't have waste management systems, they don't have collection systems that are good enough to cope with the amount of garbage they generate. And that's why they get so much plastic in the ocean. But
I think also there actually should be more security about it. Like, there should be more people, like more people just looking out for people who pollute it and tell it to someone, because as you said, that is a crime. So
And do that work.
crimes have to be
In the beach, can do that work. The people, we can do it.
yes, it is actually very important that if you would happen to see something like that, then you have, as a citizen, you have a responsibility to actually report it. Take a picture of it and put it out there. Especially you have to go and talk to the police. And if the police doesn't do anything because they are too busy with too many other things, then you have a chance to actually share it with your friends and make sure that everybody knows that that is happening, so there is a bit of pressure for it.
Thank you for taking us.
That was very nice. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for all your questions. It was very nice to be actually able to help you out in your project. So I'm hoping that you're very lucky and that you have a successful project at the end.
Yes,
For sure.
and our teacher is the best.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good evening. My name is Pilar. I am the science teacher at Europe International School. Thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
My students are carrying out a research on plastic pollution in the oceans, and we contacted you because we know you work in that area and they're willing to ask you questions. Are you ready?
I am, yes.
Okay, first of all, they are going to introduce themselves.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Anna.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Patricia. Nice to meet you.
Hello, I'm Francis, and it's very nice to meet you.
Hello, I'm Gonzalo. Very nice to meet you.
You too. Lovely to meet all of you.
That's very nice.
Does your company carry out any cleaning campaigns?
We do, but we haven't organised too many yet because we've been working on the film all of this time, and it's taken us many hours of hard work, years of hard work. Some we're going to be involved in some, and sometimes we do underwater cleanups as well, but it's not a regular event. It's more when we're there, we'll do something. But this summer there will be a lot of cleanups, particularly around the River Thames, which is bringing a lot of things straight out into the English Channel.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's true. And what do you do with the plastic after collection?
It depends which country we're in and whether we know that the plastic can be recycled or not. It's always worth talking to the local councils, the local government, to say that you're doing a beach cleanup, because then you can make sure that they will collect it all. Because if there's an awful lot of plastic, it might be more than could fit in the local bins, and I'm sure it would be. So we try and recycle where we can. If not, we let the local government deal with it, and we put it responsibly in one place where the wind won't pick it up.
Oh, that's good. Which parts of the ocean are the most polluted?
I would say it depends where you are in the world. I mean, there's 5 countries that are being responsible for most of the plastic getting into the ocean, and they're all in Asia. So river mouths in Asia are pretty polluted on the whole, and I would also say the centres of the oceans are where the plastic ends up. But it's important to know that although a lot of the plastic is coming from those rivers in Asia, it's because they don't have the infrastructure, they don't have people dealing with it, and a lot of the plastic is imported from the West, from developed countries. And also, we're sometimes sending our recycling to them, and they don't want all of it, they just want a certain type, and then they have nowhere to put the rest of it. So it's not really just an Asian problem, because we're all driving it.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
Thank you. How do we contaminate ourselves when we contaminate the ocean?
Well, what happens is there's been decades and decades of agricultural runoff going into the oceans, all the fertilizers and the things that the weed killers and things. The rain will eventually wash them into drains and that can go out into the ocean. But also industry, lots of factories pollute, and all of those chemicals that have ended up in the ocean are still there. Even ones that have been banned are still there. And one of the strange things about plastic is that it seems to really like these chemicals. It attracts them. So the plastic, from the day it enters the ocean, starts to get quite a lot of chemicals on it, eventually becoming toxic. Now, when a little fish eats those, or a very small animal eats them, and then a bigger fish eats that, and a bigger fish eats that, and we end up eating the flesh of that fish, what's happened is, when those toxic chemicals get inside the fish, the one thing they like more than plastic is fat. And those chemicals lift off from the plastic and they get stored in the fat and the muscles of the animals that we eat. And those chemicals have been linked to a lot of diseases that affect humans. So we don't yet know how bad it is, but what we do know is that it doesn't look good, and we really need to stop putting plastic into the ocean so that there's going to be no risk to human health.
Yes, that's for sure.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you. To help a little bit more.
How do your activities improve the environment?
Well, the one thing I think is very important is letting people know what the problem is. You see, we've been believing that plastic is disposable since even before I was born. And I'm a grandmother, so, it's a long, long time. And we've grown up thinking you can just throw plastic away, and you can't. And it's a habit that we've all got into that we need to change back again. We need to understand you can't throw it away. There is no way. And plastic is built to last. So by telling people with the film and with the education programs that we're planning and talking to lovely ambassadors like you, that's the way we get this message out there. And as soon as people think about it, then they start to think, gosh, yes, you're right. When I used to buy butter before, it was wrapped in paper. Now when you buy butter in the shops, it's in a plastic dish. But you don't have to buy it like that. You can still buy it wrapped in paper. Soap used to be solid. It would last for a long time, but now we have little liquid soap in plastic bottles that doesn't last so long. Yeah. So there's lots of changes you can make in your own house that will start to bring down the amount of plastic we're throwing away, and that in turn will stop it getting into the ocean. So it's all about changing how we believed all these years and suddenly starting to realise plastic was never meant to be disposable. It's a brilliant substance. It lasts for a very, very long time, but it's not single use.
Yeah, because I guess every part of your life you can always help the environment.
Absolutely, you can. People like you are just the sort of people we need to turn this around. Doing this.
Okay. How many marine animals die each year because of the stick plastic?
That is a very difficult one to answer because a lot of them will die and never be found. So we can only really look at the animals we know have either ingested it, which means they've eaten it, or they've become entangled in it. And from the studies we know, the species, which is the different types of animals, is 650 different species. So how many animals within that 650? I don't know, because who knows, what happens when they die and they get eaten by other animals, the carcasses are picked on. So it's not an answer that we can actually give because we just don't know how many have sunk to the bottom, how many we never found.
Yes, the other thing that we have to do is to not contaminate.
Yeah.
That's right.
If you don't contaminate, it's a lower, not as many animals die each year, so it's easier to calculate the answer.
Yes, exactly. But the contamination, we don't think is killing them yet, unless they're actually eating so much plastic that they starve. The chemicals we think, will be affecting how they grow, how they reproduce, and just affecting their health. But it's the physical plastic that they're getting stuck in, like stuck in fishing ropes and things.
Yeah.
And some, when the adult birds feed plastic to their chicks instead of fish, and the babies are dying because their stomachs are full of plastic and they're getting no nourishment.
So true. Yes, very true. That's
Sabbath. Which ones are the most polluting countries?
Well, you have to remember what I said before about why they are polluting, but the most plastic is getting into the ocean from China, Indonesia, and from the Philippines. And Indonesia and the Philippines are comprised of many, many islands, thousands of islands, and of course each has got a coastline, so it's much more exposure to the marine environment. With Spain, because it's a very big country, it's got one border all the way around, but imagine if Spain was made of lots of little islands. I know you have islands too, but it's because of them, and that's how it's going to get into the environment.
At my school, I'm actually a lot of people were from the Philippines, and I'm pretty sure the Philippines are mostly the polluting countries because it's kind of a poor country, so they don't really have as many places to store the plastic.
No, they don't, and everything they bring in is wrapped in plastic. But I'll tell you, in the Philippines, they have some incredible new projects working now with villages, and they're developing zero waste villages, and everybody is on board with it. They're all cutting down on their plastic use. They're all preventing plastic from getting into their local canals and rivers, and everybody is really enjoying a much cleaner environment. And those zero waste villages are growing into towns, and they've started a project in Indonesia and China too. So I think they could be showing us the best way forward, because they don't have people to come and sort and collect and recycle their plastic. So they're just refusing it. And Rwanda is another country. They looked at how plastic would be likely to affect their environment, plastic bags in particular, and then said, right, we're not having them. So all the bags that they use there are made of paper or cloth. So a lot of the what we call the developing countries, the poorer nations, are the ones that might end up, being the shining examples to the rest of us who just use plastic, like you can throw it away.
So true. Thank you. That was very good. How does plastic affect the marine life?
Well, it's the two ways mostly. One is they get tied up in it and they drown. And the second way is because they eat it, and then that exposes them to the chemicals that the plastic's carrying. Or they eat so much of it that they starve with their stomachs absolutely full. So it's two ways of eating it that can cause problems, and it's getting entangled in it.
That's good. What can we do to stop polluting the oceans?
Well, if each one of you tells 10 people what you're doing and why, then that way the word is going to get out there. We need to tell as many people as possible to stop using single-use plastic. When you go out and have a drink in a cafe, before you finish saying, I would like an orange juice, please, always say, with no straw. And just stopping straws and making people think, yes, why am I having a straw? I know how to drink out of a cup. I don't need a straw. Just little things like that. Make sure that your brothers, your sisters, your mums, your dads, your aunties, your cousins say, no more plastic bags in our family. We don't need them. We're going to take our own bags.